Hey everybody, welcome back to It's a Metal Thing. Today I'm working on a fireplace surround. It's a gas fireplace, one of those sealed ones. They're just, I don't know, they're all the rage now. So it's sunk in the wall, obviously. It's a flat wall. There's no hearth, there's no mantle. It's just literally just stuck in the wall, probably about 3 feet off the ground, kind of by their bed in their bedroom. They had it wallpaper around it, and the fireplace sticks a little proud, so they just wanted the detail to go around it. They were worried that the wallpaper would come off. Anytime you apply heat to any kind of adhesive, it'll give up over time. They're worried about discoloration or movement, so they just wanted to do a decorative piece around there. So basically I'm building an oversized picture frame to go around this, this fireplace. I have some hot roll steel. I'm gonna have laser cut. It's gonna be, I don't know, maybe like an 8 or 10 inch surround around with a detail around the edge, a flat bar detail. I'm gonna get some coal roll and make a little stepped detail. So let's get going on it. All right, back on the fireplace surround. I took this out to the job site. I fit that piece. They liked the design. Surprisingly to me, the designer wanted a little thicker, so we went with 1/4 inch. Got some 1/4 inch coal roll. 12 feet isn't long enough to surround this whole thing, so I had to buy like double. I like the coal roll because, like I said earlier, it's got a crisp edge on it. Looks better than the hot roll. It finishes nicer. I stripped the scale off of the frame here with muriatic acid to get rid of the scale on the outside. Flash rust, it always does. It'll clean up easy with a DA. It just works better. I could use coal roll, but the place I buy my steel, they sell partial sheets in the hot roll, but not in the coal roll. And I don't use coal roll a whole lot, just because, like I told you in the past, and I will tell you in the future, it doesn't take the bluing very good. It's a little harder. So I'm going to clean these up. Oh, another thing too, the frame, when the contractor gave me the dimension on the frame, he was worried about the clearance between the frame and where the gas valve is. And it turns out it was a little more clearance than he had anticipated or thought or remembered. So I'm gonna make the frame itself, the step, 1 inch bigger than the sheet metal, just to make it bigger and get it closer. No big deal. One less seam to worry about on the edge. It's only 14 gauge, so it'll kind of have a little bit of reveal, a little bit of float, which is cool. Some people like that, especially if it doesn't fit flat against the wall. Right now it's sheetrock, obviously, with wallpaper. So we're gonna trim the wallpaper, and so we can adhere this, we're just gonna silicone it on because we don't wanna see any screws. So I'm gonna clean it up, cut it up, and then get back to you. So I'm gonna weld these up. What I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna put a fat tack, 2 tacks on all 4 corners, fat tack, flip it over, weld it, and then flip it back over, weld it. I think that's gonna help with wanting to pull. Even though it's clamped down, if you put a bunch of heat on one side, when you let it loose, it's still gonna pull up. So if I put a decent tack on both sides, it'll pull up a little bit, but when you put more heat on the backside, do it a full pass, it'll straighten out. You'll learn, or you already know, that heat pulls. If you know kind of how much it's going to pull, you can kind of guess. You kind of preempt some of that, so you don't have to beat it around or straighten it out. So that's the idea behind this: fat tacks, 2 tacks on each joint, flip it over, full weld, then flip it over, full weld. It should maintain, be pretty flat. So let's do that, shall we? and then weld them together later. But I will be using this as a jig or a pattern for the other ones. It's important that they line up with this outside edge. That's the most important edge. So the way it's made is the top one, or the outermost piece, doesn't have any holes in it. It gets welded on the back side. So I actually have to make this the bottom, and the middle one, and then this one goes on last. So just I'll make them so they match this. I'll grind them, clean them all up, sand them all up, get them all pretty, and at the very end, tack them. I don't know. It's going to be a flat paint. It's going to be a high heat flat, so it's going to be flat, so it won't show any waves. I'm not sure if the heat that I generate, it's going to actually turn that top piece, that 1-inch piece, red hot. It would swell it up. So if you're going to do like a shiny powder coat or paint or anything on it, you'd probably have to come back and make sure that was flat, because it'd probably be enough heat on there that it would pucker. That's another reason I got these holes. There's quite a few of them, probably a little more than I need, but I don't want it getting wavy or separated. Another thing too is each piece might want to bow a little bit. So like I drill these, you might relieve. So I gotta make sure that they stay straight. Just double check as I go. So it's cooled off enough. I'm going to grind one of these. I'm going to try and show you how I grind. I don't know if I can pull it off. We'll see. Typically, want to let those welds cool, because it'll, like I said before, it'll ruin the disc. But I'm going to show you, if I can, how I do this. So I just concentrate on the weld, and I try to keep it as flat as I can. This is a pretty new disc, so we'll see how it goes. That's basically how I grind it. I'll come back and smooth it up. If I need to go over it with this, which I probably will, because it's a big flat surface, I'll be able to just kind of come around the corner and blend it and get rid of some of those sand scratches. That's what I'll do. Then I come back and I clean up the inside edges where the weld's overhanging a little bit, and get it all DA'd up and smoothed up. So each one's finished and pimped for the final assembly. So I'm going to grind this up, and I'm going to weld all these other ones up, and then I'll show you, the progress. All right, have all the pieces for the frame welded up, smoothed up. Gonna start welding it. My bottle is almost empty. It's not showing anything on the gauge, but there's still gas coming out. I don't want to take the chance of being halfway through one of the plug welds and have the gas run out, end up with porosity, and having one of those welds come apart. So I'm going to go change the bottle out, even though there's still gas. I don't know how much is in there, but it doesn't matter. So these are all sanded smooth, 80 grit, ready to go. This piece here, I'm not sanding yet. I I am 90% sure that when I weld on the backside, it's gonna make a little raised spot. So I'll have to smooth that out, grind it out, file it out, do whatever I have to do to get that flat. On this particular one, it's not that important. I'm just kind of showing you guys what will happen if you're gonna do like even a semi-gloss black, something that's smooth, that will show up and you'll see it. You might not see it straight on, but when you catch the reflection just right, you're walking through the room and the sunlight's bouncing off the window and comes in at an angle, you'll see all those puckers. You have to watch out for that stuff, even like a bronze or anything that has a reflection you can kind of catch, even if it's not as shiny as you think it's gonna be. So I'm gonna go get gas. I'm going to flip it over, clamp these two together, and plug weld. I'll show you that. And then I'll show you what I think is gonna happen with the pucker part. Getting puckered. So I'm gonna do that. All right, I got gas. This is all clamped, the edges are good, everything's good. So when I plug weld, I pretty much try to go straight up and down. I just get it and I start in the middle. I literally get that thing right in the middle. I just kind of circle it around, build up a puddle, and then it'll come around and get bigger and bigger till it comes out. I'm not worried about this being super flat. It just needs to be strong. You won't see this because another piece goes on top of it. So let's do it. I just did this side so it could lay flat. If I had all these clamped, it would be sitting kind of weird, sitting on clamps and wanting to move around. This way I'm going to do this side, I'll spin it, I'll do that side sitting flat on the table, and then these will just be, I'll pull one off that end and pull one off that end so it kind of sits reasonably flat. I'm hoping that it doesn't bow. It probably will, because all the heat is concentrated on just this side, it's not in the center. It might bow, but you just got to do what you got to do to get it straight again. It's part of welding. So you can see I got pretty good heat in here. That's not going anywhere, especially hanging on a wall, honestly. See if it's got see the puckered up flat file. I'll just I'm not gonna file these like this. I'm just filing one so you can kind of see what's going on. So you can see that that spot is high, right? It's just where it puckered up, it pulled up a little bit. I could file it, I guess. I could file these out. Probably, there's not enough here to worry about. So I'm going to run the file over real quick. And you just file till the discoloration is gone. And then if you file it too, then you know for sure that it's flat. And it doesn't take long if you have a good file. This one's pretty fine, which is fine because I don't want a bunch of scratches in it. So yeah, that's gonna take too long. That one, see as it's cooling now, it's really sticking up. Yeah. Those would have definitely shown if you had not done anything with them, you know, doing anything with them, that would have shown for sure, and you would have been hitting life. So what I can do is I'll take, it's pretty hot still, So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it cool off because I don't want to ruin the disc. I'm not gonna hit it with a hard grinding disc. I'm gonna use the Velcro back 80 grit. I can just run it over that real quick and get a nice smooth, and it'll sand out easier with the DA. I got it with a grinder, you know, got an extra step, but I think I can get them flat enough with this. I'll just maybe have to use a couple of them on this one side only. So I'm gonna let it cool off. I'm gonna hit it with the grinder. Okay, welded together. Got a little bow in it. You can see it or not. That far end down there, it might just be the way it's sitting, but so these are tight and tighty, but they're not as nice as they need to be. I don't want to see this seam if I don't have to. I don't know what's going to happen over time with expansion and contraction with the heat and whatnot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this down, and the more I grind it, when I get past these little bevels here, it'll just tighten that gap up. And since I'm going to paint it, and this is the very outside edge, I'm going to spray some filler primer on there, and I'll just run my finger over it and try to shove it down in the holes and sand it smooth. And if it does ever split or crack, it'll be so small that you probably won't notice. But that's the only thing I could do other than weld it completely, and then it would just totally get twisted. So these ends down here need a little work. I'm gonna do some welding in here. Like this is lower. I'm gonna grind it first and like get it flush. But there's a little bit of discrepancy in the height here. This is low, so I'll probably just lay a bead in here and build this up. I'll just lay a bead in here and build this up. Same down here, I think. This is a little low, this one here. So instead of grinding that, because I don't want to grind that because then it'll dive off, right? You want it to stay straight. So the only way to do that is to build it up. So I'll just lay a little bead in here, grind that, smooth it up. You can see I didn't, when you're plug welding, if you're worried about it, you put a big old weld on there on top, and you can grind it flush and not see it, but I'm not worried about that because you won't see this piece of sheet metal is going on my back. So right now I'm going to grind all this, get it all squared up, and try to eliminate as much as this little beveled edge here as I can. You'll see when I'm done that it's pretty tight in there. And then, like I said, when I prime it, it should, if I run my finger over it, kind of smush it down in there, it should disappear. So that's the plan. So you can see that there's still some little lines there, but it's better than it was. This front piece obviously isn't on there as good as it could have been, but that's gonna fill up with a little bit of primer. Now you can see down, the situation I have here. So obviously I'm gonna have to either build, I'm gonna see how it goes when I'm grinding it. I can feel that this piece back here is a little long, and I kind of knew that, so I'll work this, keeping it flat, because it's pretty good down here. But this piece, I'll emphasize on this piece. Again, just trying to keep it flat, not trying to get all crazy and get a weird angle. Just keep it as flat as I can and go that way. And then whatever ends up down here, if I need to, I'll come back and I'll fill a little bit. So it'll be trickier, obviously, because I'm going to have to stand it up, which is going to be like this, which is sketcy. It's kind of how I got that scar there. I was up here grinding like this and it got away from me. So I don't know if I'm going to show you that because it's going to be a shit show. I'll show you the end result. Okay, so it's pretty straight. Especially like that edge there is nice and straight. It looks good. But like I was talking about earlier, this right here is low, like a pretty good amount. And if I were to grind this out, that would just dive off. We don't want that. So I'm gonna fill that in. I'm gonna come back and grind it, but when I grind it, I'm gonna grind it with the 5-inch because it's easier to control. Same thing here. This center piece is a little low. I mean, not much, but if I were to like grind that so you couldn't see it, it would, again, curve it. I'm trying to keep it flat and straight and square and nice. So a little weld in here, a little weld in here, come back and grind it with my little 5-inch job, wherever it is. And then this side will be done. I'll flip it over and basically do the same thing. And then I'll come back. I gotta cut that sheet metal, and then it's just a matter of tacking that on. It's like hot, as can you tell? It's hot, and it's 4:30. It's almost 100 in here. This wall here, man, it puts off the heat in the afternoon. We only got a few more days of this hot, so I'll probably, I gotta finish this up. So I'll finish this up tonight. I don't feel like getting all grinded and dirty again. So I'll finish this up and you can see the end result. Okay, corners are good. All 4 corners came out nice. Pretty much done. Just gonna smooth out these puckers, get those flat, bust the edge, sharp, it's pretty sharp. This outside edge, this is still good. Bust this outside edge front and back, run over with 80 grit, what's exposed. Get that cut and sanded, and it should be good to go. I probably got like another, I don't know, another 30 minutes of welding, and then it's just kicking around with primer and paint. Hopefully I get it installed Wednesday morning. I go in for a knee operation on Thursday. Quickie meniscus. Got a little torn meniscus. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be out. Maybe the weekend. But I wanna get this stuff up and done. So tomorrow I'll show you the finished product. See it. Okay, final day on the picture frame for around the fireplace frame. I got this all sanded up. It's smooth and nice. Both sides are sanded. A little bit, so there's a little more overhang on this, on the back side. You'll see it, but so the distance between where the sheet metal ends and this edge is, it's allowing a little bit of a gap. I want to get it tidy like the rest of it. So I put a marker on here, put a mark on here. I'm going to drill holes in this sheet metal. I'm going to plug weld the sheet metal so I can get a good clamp on it. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, there's a chance it'll move, and I don't want a gap there. So in order to get it tight as I can, I'm going to go ahead and plug weld it, because if I welded it on this edge here, it might, pull away. So pull this off. This is all smoothed out, filed flat. It's good to go. Once I mount this to this, I'll just come back and DA this up, and I'll go ahead and just prime this edge like we talked about. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drill these holes and then plug weld it to the back. So stay tuned. Okay, done deal. Turned out good, happy with it. Just went around and felt all the edges, make sure there's no bumps or lumps or anything. All the edges are soft. It's DA'd up, cleaned up, ready to go. I'm gonna blow it off and wipe it down. And I'm gonna prime that edge like we talked about. I'm gonna flip it over when I prime it, because I don't want any overspray to get on this, because I don't want to try to get in here on these corners and do all that. So I'm gonna flip it over, prime just this edge, give it a quick sand, and then I'll paint it with the high heat paint. We were talking about powder coating it, but the powder coat, their high heat powder coat is almost like a satin, and the Fireplace itself is, that really matte black. So it's never gonna get hot enough to be an issue. It's stove paint, so it's never gonna be an issue as far as heat goes. I mean, if it gets to 200 degrees, I'll be surprised. So that's not an issue. So I just hope that I can spray that paint and have it lay out even. I haven't tried it yet, so we'll see. One way or the other, it'll be matte black and it'll be even and it'll be beautiful. So stay tuned. All right, Fireplace surround done. Just siliconed it to the wall. The weight of the piece, which is, man, gotta be 50 pounds.
Yeah, all of that.
Probably 50 pounds. Is held by the fireplace itself, so it's just silicone on. We darkened around the edge with magic markers and paint sticks and everything, but yeah, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, we're happy.
Turned out good. So if you like this video, like the video, check me out on Instagram. It's a metalthing.com. And
metalthing.com.
it's a metal thing.
Okay.
And see you on the next one.
Okay.